How's it going, everyone? Welcome into the channel, and today we have what I like to call the most consistent deck, at least that I've made so far in Star Wars Unlimited. It's Moff Tarkin double command villainy deck. I'll kind of go over the reasons why I think it's the most consistent, why it's my favorite deck to play, and I know that in the last episode I said that Hera was going to be my favorite deck to play just based on the characters alone, but this deck is so much fun to play. The ability to use, there are 3 different cards to give you resources faster than normal, and because of that it allows you to like fast get out your stronger units, and I'll kind of go over that as we go over the cards. As you see here, we are playing Moff Tarkin, right, as his actual unit card. On attack, you may give an experience token to another Imperial, and as his leader ability, for 1 resource, you can give an experience token to an Imperial unit. So that's pretty good as well. And he comes out for his epic action for the cost, well, not the cost, but if you have 5 or more resources. So that's not that many. So you can get him out kind of early, then start attacking with him to start ramping up your other Imperial units. This is another one of those decks where the Hera deck that I went over last time really used the Rebel engine to boost up other Rebel units. And even though Hera only she boosted up unique characters, Moff Tarkin boosts up other Imperial, and as you're going to see in this deck, there are a ton of Imperial units to boost up, and you can do it as early as turn 1, and I'll kind of go what I feel like is actually like a really good turn 1 when we get to it. We were playing the Command Center, which is just a command color. Just add second command, this way we can then play command, the card command for 4, rather than playing it for 6. So also, Moff Tarkin really only needs command, and you see the synergy with all of these green units, the command units, and what little villainy units that I do have. Like, you're gonna see why I don't need that many, right? Okay. Now getting into our units here, I play 2 General Tag. He allows you to, on play, like when played, give an experience token to up to 3 trooper units. So that's going to include your shore trooper, your snow trooper lieutenants, your cell block guards, which is really good because it's Sentinel, your 97th Legion, and as well as Agent Callus. So that's also really good as well. We'll bring Agent Callus up to a 5/5. So there's a lot of synergy with that card with a lot of units in this deck. I'm playing it as a 2 of because it is a unique unit, and I don't typically play unique units at 3. Again, it's early in the game, and maybe there will be a few that I do play. Like, I do play 3 of for Leia, but as of right now, I'm kind of just testing the waters when it comes to playing, and I do feel like even for a 2 of, like, I see it enough. Another thing that you're going to see with this deck is that I do play a pretty decent amount of cards. I usually like to stay closer to 50, but with this deck, you're going to see that there's a lot of searching or ability to like look at the top few cards of your deck and add cards to your hand, which is why I felt like it was okay to play more than 50 and a decent amount more than 50. I played 58 in this deck, which is like the most I'll ever play in a deck. Yes, I'm gonna lose the capability of getting to the certain cards that I want to see pretty much at all times, but as of right now, this has been really consistent, and I'm really enjoying how it's working, and I haven't had it clog up any times. Let's get into the seasoned shore trooper. If you have 6 resources, it just gets +2 attack, or +2/+0. So it becomes a 4/3, and it's just really solid. Just get your resources up, which I'm going to show you a few cards, and it's really not hard to have 6 resources in this deck really fast. So this thing's going to be attacking for a lot. You can use it to take out opposing enemies, maybe do some damage that you need to do, and then use another unit to kind of take it out, right? Use it to do damage to things, so they're kind of afraid to attack their Sentinel because they might lose their unit. So there's a lot of things you can do with Seasoned Shore Trooper, especially after you have 6 resources. I just think it's pretty good. We have the ISB Director here, Yularen, if that's how you say it. Every time you play a command unit, you get to restore 1, which is really good. If you get that thing mid to late game, you can play, because again, I only play command. There's a few just villainy cards, but I'm going to have a ton of command things in hand. Just play the unit, you can start restoring up. You can, because there are a lot of cheap command units in this deck and you get a lot of resources, you can heal 3-4 come late game, and maybe that's the difference of keeping you alive for a turn, so that's a really good card. We have Admiral Mahdi, and Admiral Mahdi allows you to, when it's defeated, to ready a villainy unit, which is absurd. If you have an Admiral Mahdi on the field and you have attacked, let's just say with a Blizzard Assault AT-AT, right? You swing Mahdi into something, kill Mahdi, re-ready it. You have another 8-8 attack. So that's really, really good. Mahdi has some really good synergy in this deck. Pretty much everything in it is a villainous card. So that's really good. You have the Snowtrooper Lieutenant. And Snowtrooper Lieutenant, when played, you get to attack with an Imperial unit, and it gives it +2 to their attack. And this is good. I talked about this with the Fleet Lieutenant for the Rebel side. This is pretty much the counterpart. It's always good when you can play a card, and it comes in tapped, sure. When you can play a card and then get another action out of that card, it's just really good value. And not only that, it makes your attack stronger. So you have a ton of Imperial units in this deck that you can, you get to save an action to attack, and you're also getting that buff. That allows you to, progress your turn without spending as many actions, and this way you can grab initiative maybe a little bit early, which could be the difference in some matches or some turns. So that's really good. You have the Emperor's Royal Guard. He's really good. If you have an official on board, he gets Sentinel. Sentinel's really, really good in this game. You can really stall out your opponents. If you use Grand Moff Tarkin's ability and other units' abilities in this deck to buff up your Sentinels, it becomes really hard for your opponents to kind of get through your Sentinels, as you saw in the last battle. If you haven't seen the last matchup, check the description below. It'll be down there where I used the Grand Moff Tarkin deck against the Sabine deck. But yeah, Emperor's Royal Guard, if you have an official on the board, it gets Sentinel, which is really good. And if you have Emperor Palpatine on the board, it gets +1 +0 +1. I don't play Emperor Palpatine, so it doesn't partake to me, but some people might play it. And if they end up coming with an Emperor Palpatine leader, that could be pretty good. Going down, we have the Super Laser Technician. Now, he's really good. This is one of the cards that help you ramp up your resources. He's a 3 cost, which is okay. I play 3 of this card. It's definitely needed. I only play the Snowtroopers at 2, mainly just because I don't want to put too many cards in this deck, and I didn't really need the Snowtrooper too often. But this card I need to see as much as possible, right? The Super Laser Technician, as my hand hits the table, I apologize for that. If it's defeated, you put it in the resource area untapped, right? So if you have it on the field and you start your turn and you attack with it, you get to add it to your pile before you even start doing anything. That is really, really good. Just being able to get the resource in general, but getting an attack through, yeah, it's not strong. It's only, 1 power, right? 2 power, actually. So that's actually not too bad. But getting that free resource with getting an attack, that's really good. And you still get to use that resource for the turn. So that's also really good, right? You have the Cell Block Guard. It's a Sentinel, a 3/3 Sentinel. It's always good. You can power it up again with Grand Moff Tarkin, your TIE Advance over there, but we'll get to that later on. We are playing 2 General Veers. General Veers is like the Dono. He gives all Imperials, though, +1/+1, as long as he's on the field, all friendly Imperials. So that's really, really good. Play 2 of him. I play 2 of regular Grand Moff Tarkin. Now, this is one of those cards that allow me to search my deck, right? So when played, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, you reveal 2 Imperial cards, and you put them right into your hand. So again, you're thinning your deck, and that's really good. You get to add pretty much what you want. You can add pretty much anything in the deck as far as units go into the hand here. Agent Callus, he comes in with Ambush, which is always good. And with that being said, if a unique unit is defeated, you get to draw a card. So I believe it has to be an enemy one, though. When another unique unit is defeated. So actually, it's just whenever a unique unit is defeated, you just get to draw a card, which is always good. Draw power. More draw power is always good. I play one of the 97th Legion. That's kind of like a tech card because you're ramping up so much. You can get to like 7, 8, 9 resources pretty quickly compared to your opponent, unless they're playing green as well. And you can just drop the 7th Legion, and its attack and the attack and defense are based on your resources. You get +1/+1 for each resource you have. So if you have 10, it's a 10/10, and it's as strong as the Devastator. And that's really, really cool to me. I play it as a one of because it's not really needed in the deck. But when you do get it out there, because again, you're searching through your deck, at some point, this is probably going to end up in your hand. And you just put it on the board late game, and it's just like, okay, well, now you have 12 resources. Now I have 12 staring at me. Boom. And then also you're pairing up with Admiral Mahdi, right? Oh, no, it's not. So Admiral Mahdi is not going to work with it. Scratch what I just said. Admiral Mahdi needs to be a villainy card. Scratch that. But still, 12-12, 97th Legion late game could be the difference. You can pretty much take out any other opposing unit with that, right? We have Blizzard Assault AT-AT, right? This is really, really good. It is an 8/8, first of all, right? And then it's when this unit attacks and defeats a unit, you may deal excess damage from this attack to an enemy ground unit, right? So this is really good at clearing out some zone. Like, if your opponent has a bunch of like maybe not even necessarily low cost, but let's just say low cost guys right on the field, and he's just like pinging you, bam, 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 2, 3, 4, and he's just doing a bunch of damage to you. You can go ahead and use this. You can take out 2 of them in a turn. It's just really strong. 8/8 is always really strong, and again, in this deck, you can kind of fast forward and get this out earlier than other decks could get their 8 cost guys out, and then you just have a strong. It's actually not an 8/8. It's a 9/9. It's on the screen. You guys can see it. It's a 9/9. And it's just really, really strong. Now we're going to get into our space units. We have the TIE Fighter. It's just the 1-drop in this deck. Now, the reason why it's good, though, right? So I'm playing 3 of these, obviously. This is a good card because with Grand Moff Tarkin on the first turn, if you end up getting this, right? You play your TIE Fighter, and then you use Grand Moff Tarkin's ability, and then you give it a +1/+1, right? So you're looking at 3/2 for a 1 cost. And then you obviously it's going to be a 2 cost because you have Grand Moff Tarkin's leader ability, but still, like, on turn 1, that's like a really, really good turn 1. It's value. Just because like you have a TIE Fighter, and it's stronger than normal. Next, we have the Devastator. Devastator is a Sentinel, has Overwhelm, which is always good. And then when played, you may deal damage to a unit equal to the number of resources you control, right? The 10 cost. So you're going to most likely have at least 10 resources. So you're going to do 10 damage to a unit and just kind of blast it. You can have more than that. And then you could blast something for, let's say, 12, 13. Like, you can do so much damage with this, and you can kind of get rid of one opposing threat pretty much just for playing this card. Also, Overwhelm is really good because whatever excess damage that you do to a unit goes to the opponent's base. Always good. And then being a Sentinel, right? At 10/10, a Sentinel in the sky, like in space, that's a really strong Sentinel. Oh, we have the Star Viper, which you saw in the Hera deck. It has Restore 2 if you have Initiative. So just grab Initiative. I like to always have Initiative as much as possible. If I'll give up using resources sometimes if I think that grabbing the Initiative can benefit me. Like, starting first on a turn, though not like 100% like the most important thing in the world, it can really like be good, and I like to have Initiative more often than not. The TIE Advance here, when played, you give an Imperial unit +2/+2. So that's really good. You give them 2 experience tokens. And then you have the Relentless. Now, Relentless, the first event card that your opponents play each round have no effect, which is fantastic because there are some event cards that are crazy, crazy good. You have Waylay, you have stuff like that. Shoot first, which is kind of annoying sometimes. And there's obviously more. Being able to pretty much shut down someone's first event each turn means that, one, they're wasting resources to use other events that they want to use, and you're also making them waste a card of no value. They're essentially discarding a card just so they can use an event card, and the thing is they're spending resources to do so. And so, like, let's just say that they have 7 resources, right? And they want to use a shoot first, which only costs 1 resource, right? They have to get rid of another resource just to do that. And maybe they'll get rid of, I don't know, like an asteroid. What is it called? I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's the cunning one where you exhaust a unit and then you get a shield. Like, there's just so much that this can disrupt a lot of decks. Let's just say that. And it's really, really good. I know 9 cost is a lot, but again, in this deck, I'll kind of go over it later on. I've already told you about the super laser technician and how that can give you more resources. There's 2 more cards that will give you more resources coming up. But again, the Relentless is pretty good because you can really stop some things that will kind of slow you down as well. Going over my events here, we recruit. I might want to lower that down. I don't think it's necessarily that needed. Maybe playing it as a 1 of, if I really, really need it, I can put it down. But right now it's a 2 of. You just get to look at top 5 cards of your deck. And you get to add a unit to your hand. Prepare for takeoff. You get to look at the top 8 cards of your deck, and you get to add 2 vehicles to your hand, and that's pretty good because I'm not playing that many vehicles in this deck. So keeping that at 2 of, I definitely would do. I would keep that at 2 just because I am playing so little like space units. I would like to try, if I don't have any, try to get them as quickly as possible, right? One of the most important cards in the deck is Resupply. I only had it as a 2 of in my Hera deck. Probably should have been a 3 of. This is one of the most important cards in Command altogether. Being able to play it for 3 and just get another resource. So on turn 3, you play it, you're at 4 resources, and then on the regroup phase, right, you put down another, you're at 5. So your opponent's at 4 essentially, and you're at 5. That's really good because then you can start playing your 5 costs quicker, right? So you can play your Agent Callus as early as turn 4, where your opponents are still playing 4 cost things, or you can play a 2 cost and a 3 cost, which is really good because there are a lot of 3 costs that you want to play in this deck. That is some solid 2 costs. So Resupply is really important in this deck. It also helps you get to the point where you can play your Blizzard Assaults, you can play your Devastator, you can play Relentless a lot quicker than in a typical deck where it doesn't have ramp with Resupply and the laser technician, right? The super laser technician. So that's why it's really good. I'm playing 2 I Am Your Father. Now this allows you to do 7 damage to an opposing unit, but if your opponent says no, you have to draw 3 cards. So most of the time I'm playing this in hopes that I draw 3 cards, right? Draw power is key in most card games, and this card game is no different. What I find is that a lot of the time when you're playing against certain decks, the amount of cards in your hand and your opponent's hand can get to the point where they're only able to play 1 card a turn, right? If you get your opponent into that part where they're only playing 1 card a turn, you're pretty much in the driver's seat. You could play around so much. So when I play I Am Your Father, yes, it would be nice to take out a unit. Yeah, I'll always target their most important unit, right? If they don't say no, cool, I get to take out their unit. But if they say no, I get to draw 3 cards, and that's just more possibilities I can do with my already expanded resource pool and stuff like that. Like, that's just a really good card because no matter what, you're taking out an opponent. Most likely, you're taking out someone's unit, or you're drawing 3 cards. Great value. Now we have Command. Now Command, I'm going to read off because there's a few things, right? You get to choose any 2 of these abilities in an order. You get to give 2 experience to a unit, right? So that's really good. You're already giving a ton of experience to your Imperial units. You can make them even stronger. In the last matchup video, I made my Emperor's Royal Guard super, super strong because I was using Grand Moff Tarkin's attack ability to buff it up 1 experience a turn. And then I played this and gave it another 2, right? So I believe I attacked 3 times or something like that. Got it up to +3/+3, and then it got up to +5/+5. So that it got really, really strong really quickly. A friendly unit deals damage equal to its power to a non-unique enemy, which is good if there is an opponent that is not like non-unique unit. Let's just say like rebels are starting to ramp up on their side, right? They're starting to boost up one of their rebels. You can do damage equal to one of your guys to that unit, which is really good. Put this event into play as a resource, so that's always good. And return a unit from your discard pile into your hand. So that could be really important because, like, if you need a certain unit from your discard pile in your hand to maybe it's an Admiral Mati, right? Because you already used the ability, and you use the ability to untap a villainy unit, right? But you want to do it again next turn. Boom, take it up and add it to your hand. I play 3 command. It will always be a 4 cost in this deck. And it's so good because all these cards that you get to kind of get these 2 abilities for 4 cost, just really good value. You get 2 abilities, and they're 2 strong abilities. Now, yes, if you don't want to have it cost 6, you have to play double command. But in Grand Moff Tarkin, I think that is very okay because this deck is just so good just playing command. So there's that. Maximum Firepower is pretty good too. I apologize for that. Maximum Firepower is really good because a friendly Imperial unit gets to deal their damage to an opposing unit, and then another Imperial unit gets to deal damage to the same one. So you can essentially have, 2/3/3 guys just deal their attack damage to one unit, and that's 6 damage to someone, and that could take out like a really strong unit. So that's pretty good. It's a 4 cost. I play it as a 2 of. I'm not gonna lie, in this deck, it often goes down as a resource because there's just so many other cards that are better. But like in a pinch, this could come in handy. But going over the most, like, this is probably my favorite card in the deck because it can swing games, right? You give a friendly unit +2/+2, and for this phase, right? So it loses the +2/+2 at the end of the phase. That's okay. Then it deals damage equal to its power divided as you choose among any number of defending units. That's just really good. So what happened was, in one of my matches, I had a Blizzard Assault AT-AT. I had played Overwhelming Barrage, and it made it an 11-11, and I got to split up 11 damage amongst. There was a lot of units across the board for me. I was playing against Luke, and it allowed me to take out Luke, and then I took out 2 more units with it. And the game just got flipped, because at that point my opponent was ahead, and he had momentum. And just because of Overwhelming Barrage, I got rid of Luke, and he wasn't really able to do anything with Luke prior to. And I just absolutely it slowed him down, and it just made it to the point where I was like really like ahead at that point, right? So that's pretty much a deck. I wouldn't really change too many things. I might play Overwhelming Barrage at 3 and put Recruit down to 1. That might be one of the only changes because Overwhelming Barrage is so good. Like, you could play it 2 turns in a row and really get your opponent like slowed down. Like, Overwhelming Barrage, both times I've played it, so good. I think that I'm gonna like lower Recruit down and then play Overwhelming Barrage at 3, just because, again, I think that's it's one of the best cards in this deck particularly, right? And as you see here, there's so much synergy in the deck with the Imperial engine here. Everything kind of plays off of each other. You have everything boosting each other. You have the ability to add resources to get out your big units. So you're not afraid to play multiple big units in this, like play a lot of them, right? So I have 7 cost 97th Legion. I have an 8 cost Blizzard Assault AT-AT. I have the Relentless at a 9 cost. I have a Devastator at 10 cost, right? And I'm completely fine. I never get clogged up, and it's just this deck is super consistent, which is why I think that this is probably at the moment, at least for me, this is my number 1 deck. This is tier 0. It's super consistent, super good. Definitely try it out if you haven't. Make some changes to it. Obviously, my deck list is in no way maybe the best deck list. It's just my thoughts. Maybe getting it down to 50 would make it even more consistent. But again, I haven't had any problems with it being this many cards in the deck. And again, this is the most fun I've had playing Star Wars Unlimited, is playing Grand Moff Tarkin. And I don't even like Grand Moff Tarkin, to be honest. I just don't. But this deck is just too much fun not to play. So please try it out if you haven't done so yet. I think you guys won't be disappointed. With that being said, we're going to go on and get out of here. We're going to get more matches going with Matt. If you guys want to let me know down in the description below what you want me to play next, I'll make a deck list and kind of give you guys my thoughts about the deck. And yeah, we're going from there. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.